Hello, everyone. Pastor Jonathan here, and it's time for this week's edition of the Weekend Wrap-Up. And I'm privileged to have as my guest this morning, Pastor Gary. How are you today?
I'm doing very well.
Good. We're here to take a time to reflect on this past week's message from Pastor Chris, entitled Journey to the Cross. And it was a great message, lots to chew on as we think about it this week. One of the key words that he used in the message was this idea of submission to Christ in our life, and for the believer, what it means to truly submit. And I thought to myself, submission in today's culture a lot of times is kind of a dirty word, one we don't like to consider. Right. Especially, for instance, we talk about husband and wives relationships and those who should submit to one another. A lot of times it's seen as somebody being considered as less than because they're being asked to submit. But there's a lot of things that are good about the word submit, and we don't need to be afraid of it or dismiss it as being a negative thing. It's a great thing. And as a matter of fact, it's a required thing for those who are following Christ. And so is there anything in particular that stood out to you as you think back on Pastor Chris's message from Sunday?
Well, as he presented the message and wrapped up, and he presented the question of what do we need to submit to Jesus, kind of brought me back to Romans chapter 12, to where we are to present our bodies a sacrifice. And so as we think about authorities, submission, like you said, kind of presents a negative message. But when it comes to following Jesus, we actually don't have to submit. We get to submit. And so going back to Romans 12, we get to submit our mind, our will, and our emotions to Him almost as a daily worship experience.
So it's an act of our will where we choose to submit to His authority in our life. And with that, according to the message, according to Scripture, there are great blessings that come with submission by being willing to obey and to follow Christ and the things that He taught us. As a matter of fact, it's even a sign of our love for Him is when we choose to obey Him.
Absolutely.
And so we can choose to obey or not to obey. And I thought back to, for me, one area of my life that I constantly battle in submitting to Him is just my thoughts in general. And so we're called to submit every thought captive. 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 5, it says we need to bring every thought captive in obedience to Christ. That's right. And that's a daily, moment-by-moment discipline so that I can stand against those thoughts that come into my mind that lead me to a place of doubt, lead me to fear, and keep me from, those fears can keep me from acting on what Christ has shown me to do, decisions to make, things I need to put into practice, and be willing to follow through so that when I come to the other side of what may be difficult decisions or difficult steps of faith, I find that there is great blessing that is poured out on my life as I choose to submit myself and my thoughts to the obedience of Christ. And so what a great challenge for us. I wonder perhaps if you're watching this today, if there are areas in your life that you thought about would need to be submitted to the authority of Christ. We'd love to hear from you. You can take time to comment on this post, and we would love to carry this conversation forward with you during the week. We want to encourage you. This coming Sunday night, we're having a leader rally at 6 o'clock. And if you are serving in any area or aspect of ministry at First Middleburg, you are a leader. And so we invite you to come and be with us for a night of inspiration and encouragement and teaching from Pastor Chris, and then breakout groups for the different ministry areas. We'll continue to teach each other and learn from one another and encourage each other along the way as we try to grow as a church and become more effective in reaching our community with the good news of Jesus Christ. I hope you have a great week, everyone. We'll look forward to seeing you again next week as we take time to think back on the message from upcoming Sunday. And Lord bless you to have a great week. Thanks, everybody.